Hey guys, what's up? It's part two,
Dose.
episode 2 of Elite Moves podcast. Here we go. Let's get it started. Full of energy. Let's go.
All right, so Kyler, we have one episode down.
Let's go.
On our second, how did you feel about our first episode?
I felt like it went pretty well. I was thoroughly surprised. And yeah, I was excited to get it started, and I'm excited to continue going in this direction.
We've had 3 listeners so far.
Let's go.
Pretty
3
epic, pretty
listeners.
epic. So if we could, double that each week, I mean, we're gonna just
Yeah.
be on a great trajectory.
It's
But
like
you know
doubling
what?
a penny each
Uh,
day for a month.
yeah,
Get like 5 million or something.
right. Well, not quite, but one thing that we talked about in the last podcast was consistency,
Mhm.
and so we need to just keep showing up, even if nobody else does,
Yeah.
because it's the two of
Right
us, right? We've been showing up together for 18 years.
Yeah, we have.
So
Well,
we're
more
just
more like you've been showing up for a little longer than me, because
well, I'm saying together. We've
Oh
been
yeah,
showing
yeah,
up
together, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this week we are diving into the newsletter of Elite Moves, and this week's uh, subject line is "Film Don't Lie," stolen from Rasheed
Don't lie.
Wallace. Rasheed Wallace, "Ball Don't Lie." So we're gonna look at like the truth is in the tape, right? The film doesn't lie. There's what you think you see
hmm
on the court, and then there's what you actually see when you go back and watch film.
That is true. Yeah, a lot of times I think I did something, but I didn't, and it's kind of embarrassing when you go back and watch it and you didn't do what you said you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking about this yesterday. So Liam had mentioned that Mount Hood on our walk looked like it was off a little bit,
hmm
and from where it normally is. And so I was like doing some research about how that could actually be.
hmm
And one of the things is that our mind, likes symmetry and likes things to be perfect. And so maybe one time on a walk it was like lined up perfectly.
hmm
And so in his mind, that's how it is,
mm
how it should have been, right?
Right.
And so same thing when you're playing basketball or doing other sports, we have what we think should have happened and
hmm
what we did perfectly, but in reality, that's not actually how it lined up.
Yeah.
So, um, one of the examples that we used the the newsletter
hmm
was uh, the film that we used for the state championship game.
hmm
We had just come off beating OES in a crazy come from
That
behind
was
victory.
crazy. I was telling one of my coworkers about that yesterday, actually. Yeah.
Well,
He was what?
go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna keep yapping, but you
Well,
asked the question.
what did you tell him about?
Oh, I was just like, yeah, we were down 17, and going into the second half, and then we came out of the halftime. Coaches poured into us, and then we came back in 3 minutes, I think it was.
3 minutes 50 seconds.
Yeah,
We had erased a 17-point lead and came out and won. So
yeah, by 10.
yeah, did we win by 10?
I think so.
Okay.
It was we
We'll have to go
won.
back and watch the film on that
Oh,
one.
let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had then less than 24 hours to prep for our next opponent, P Hill, and
Pleasantville.
right, and they had a player. Who was their player?
Uh, he was just a good player.
You don't remember his name?
Nameless. Going.
And they had a new head coach, former NBA player, former Duck player, and so we went in and we didn't have a place to watch film. Like we had coaches huddle around a computer, trying to figure out what we were going to do, and we only had, like I said, 24 hours. We're going to have one practice and one chance to get this right, and so we thought, okay, if we were them
Mhm.
watching their plays, what would they run against us based on what they've seen us do defensively?
Right.
And so we found the one play. And every time they would come down, what was it, Kyler? What was the motion that they would do?
Head tap.
Head tap. They tap their head. Okay. And so we're like, this is the play. If we were them, this is the play that we would run against us.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to figure out, okay, how are we going to defend it with our personnel? And so we sat down, we're using salt shakers and sugar packets, and
Yeah.
it was Coach Willis, Coach Henry, Coach Mark. We were all Coach
And Trouty.
Troutman, Coach Coleman. We were all just sitting around trying to figure out how to do this,
Mm-hmm.
and we finally figured out. We figured out how to defend against it, and so Coleman went and got a projector. Um, Trouty reserved a conference room for us at the hotel, and we got into the hotel room and watched this film. That kind of came together. It was pretty cool, and basically every time they ran head tap, our whole bench was just yelling out head tap, head tap,
Yeah, it's crazy.
and they kept looking over at us like, how the heck do they know exactly what we're gonna do? And we shut it down.
It's called scouting.
Yeah, it is called
Yeah,
scouting and watching the film.
yeah.
Um, so that was kind of a cool example of how watching film really helped us.
Hmm.
How has watching film helped you?
Well, I think that watching film has helped me because I was not boxing out a ton in the season, and in towards the end of the season, I started watching more film consistently, and we all started watching film consistently as a team, and I started to box out more like I should have been boxing out before, and so yeah.
So did you think you were boxing out, or what was the disconnect there? Because I know as coaches we had told you to box out,
Yeah.
and so what was the disconnect, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought I was boxing out. I was just like getting a hand on their arm maybe, but that wasn't really like boxing out. Uh, uh yeah, I was thinking I was doing it, but going back and looking at the film, um, I wasn't.
Okay. Anything else? Anything positive that you learned from film?
That our team works well together.
Yeah.
That our team definitely knew how to play team basketball and not 1-on-5 basketball like most high school teams.
Yeah. So, when watching film, it's important to look at the good and the bad and point out things that we're doing well, and then also things that we need to work on. I know as a coach that there are things that I think that I see on the court,
Mhm.
and then what is actually happening. And so, film is just a good way to uh, go in after and watch it. Have you watched any of our championship run game film since the season finished?
Yeah, I have one of the moms. She sent it to me actually.
Which one did you watch?
It was just me. It was Rowan like punching the ball up out of the air, and then I got the rebound and I just dished it right back to Rowan
Oh,
for the layup
nice.
and one.
That was a good play.
It was.
I'd like to go back and watch that OES game and the championship game. I've yet
Hmm.
to do that, but I'd want to watch it as a fan,
Hmm.
not necessarily breaking down the game. There's also another, two different ways to watch a basketball game, right? There's the way that you watch it as a player, where you're trying to watch what they're doing,
Hmm.
and then there's a way that you just watch as a fan, where you just watch it for the enjoyment, the entertainment value.
Right.
Speaking of basketball, we got the NBA Finals going on. Who do you have in this series? It's tied up 2-2. Game five
Well.
tonight.
Hold on. We made a bet
We
actually.
did. We did.
$20.
20
He
bucks.
says the OKC Thunder are gonna win, and I'm saying $20 that the Pacers are gonna win. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I really think the whole nation, besides Oklahoma, is rooting for.
Really? Why?
It's just cause.
Huh, just cause.
Yeah,
Okay. Solid reasoning
yeah,
from you there.
yeah.
Um, anyway, so basketball, we can watch the game film or watch the game for entertainment, for or for like learning purposes.
Right.
What do you tend to do mostly when you're watching NBA?
Uh, well, it's kind of hard when Shay's always at the line, but what I do is I look at what they're like doing off the ball and see what I can do to replicate that off the ball and see uh, what if they're setting screens, if they're moving or they're standing still. And most of the time they're not standing still, and they're getting places that they need to be and setting screens so that other people can get open.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on into real estate. So, um, you are in week 2, right, of
I'm
getting
in
a real
week 2.
estate license. How's that going?
It's going pretty good. I think I am 5% done with my whole entire class. So, I
Wow,
mean,
nice
we're,
job.
we're making progress here.
Yeah.
We really are. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy with my progress so far.
What's one thing that you've learned that you didn't know prior to taking this class?
I'd say real estate is harder than expected. You need to know more laws than I was originally expecting.
Hmm.
but I find it fun to learn about some laws in real estate because they matter. And when I'm trying to help out you guys in the future, I need to know about those things so then we don't get in trouble and have a lawsuit on our hands.
Right. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, no.
So why do you think this is easier for you than say school? Because in a lot of ways, it's actually more difficult than school.
Well, I'd say that I enjoy it more than I do school. I want to learn about these things. I don't think anyone wants to learn about trigonometry or whatever.
Well, I mean, some people may, but
Yeah, well, a select few of people.
so is it because you know that like this is going to be a way that you're going to be able to help people and generate revenue for yourself? Is that kind of
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that I've known this is going to be kind of my job from a while ago, and so I've had my mindset on it. So once I have my mindset on something, then I'm gonna do it.
right? Because we talked about last episode, you're stubborn like me, right?
Yeah. I'm
So you know, you've actually inspired me.
Oh, thank you.
I have been wanting to get my principal broker's license,
Mhm.
and so I am now studying the class to get my principal broker's license.
Hey, way to
So
go. Good job.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So that's exciting.
No.
So, you know, kind of along the same lines of watching film, with looking at what we could have done differently. Whenever we do a real estate transaction, it's good to go back after the fact and be like, okay, what could I have done differently? Where could I have done better? What should I have changed? Now, what would I keep the same?
So kind of like film in your head.
Yeah, filming your head, or even just like writing it down, or as things are happening, be like, okay, in the future, I need to make sure I do X, Y, Z.
All right.
And
X, Y, Z, as some people like to say.
I've never heard that.
Oh, really?
Really?
I've heard it.
Okay. Well, I guess you're some people.
Well, I am some people.
yeah.
You're right.
X, Y, what? Z?
Z.
Okay. Anyways, so totally lost my train of thought where I was going.
My
what was I
bad,
talking
King.
about?
You talk about X, Y, Z.
Yeah, no, I remember that part.
Oh yeah, the film. You talk about the film.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to go back and replay.
No.
What I do X, Y, Z.
Yeah. Anyways, so do things differently to avoid making it. Because you're never going to know everything, right? So this class that you're taking, a lot of what you learn is not actually what we do on the job every day.
Right.
That's what I will teach you once you get your license. And so you're constantly learning, and I'm constantly learning. And I think there was a philosophizer, Socrates or Plato or something, that said, when you stop learning, you die.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we should always be learning. And one thing that I have learned over the years is when I was your age, I thought I knew almost everything. And as I have gotten older, I've come to realize that
You don't.
I don't. Would you say that you're in a similar situation?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone is really.
Do
If you think about it.
Do you often find yourself being like, I don't want to listen to my dad's advice, but then turns out my dad is actually right, knows what he's talking about?
No.
No, that doesn't happen.
What are you talking about?
That doesn't happen?
No.
Okay.
Never.
All right. So switching back to basketball.
Ooh.
After a game or a practice, what did you find helpful about what I did after a game or practice with you?
Well, I found it helpful how you reviewed what went well and what didn't go too well. And we kind of talked it out. And that's kind of what we've been doing ever since like freshman, 8th grade year when you started to become my coach.
Okay. And what did we do that wasn't helpful? Like what part of that? So you talk about what went well. What part of it didn't go well? Or that did you not find helpful?
No, I wasn't saying that I didn't find it helpful.
No, I understand that. I'm asking what part of the debrief were you like, we could have done without that? How could I have done better? How could I have done it differently?
You were just perfect, actually. No.
Well, we know that's not true.
Yeah, we know. Actually, wait, hold on. Happy Father's Day, dude. It was yesterday.
Well, thank
I
you.
kind of I forgot to say that at the beginning, and I just thought of that.
Well, you told me
So
yesterday you got me a card and
I
some
did.
gummy bears.
I
And
did.
went golfing,
We
so
did.
that was
Yeah.
nice. I appreciated the time with you. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate the time with you, even though I lost, but it's
yeah,
fine.
you did lose badly.
It wasn't that bad. It was only
You
like,
got like a negative, or not negative. You
yeah,
got a
I got a
13.
negative 13. Yeah, keep it
You got
that
a
way,
plus 13 on the last
bro.
hole.
I just couldn't put it in for the life of me. But anyway, back to what we were talking about originally. I don't know really that there's anything we could have done without, because it was only like 2 parts. It was what did I do well and what didn't I do well.
Right.
So it's kind of like,
Well, I mean, looking back, I got too heated probably several times, and I am sure you could agree with that.
oh, what?
That my emotions could get a little high, and I probably could have done a better job of just being your dad rather than in coach mode. And so later on, as we got like later in the seasons, junior and senior year, I really tried to do a better job of knowing when to be your dad and when to be your coach. I don't know if you noticed that shift at all or not, but no, clearly I failed.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed a little bit.
Okay.
For sure.
So what we're doing right now, like this is reviewing game film, right? Like
Mhm.
looking back, what do we do well? What do we need to work on?
We're looking in the past. But we don't want to spend too long looking at our rear mirror.
Right.
Because then we go and we crash the whip. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're just covering the camera now.
Well,
huh?
no, we had a phone call coming in. I was trying to.
He's too popular.
Yeah, so popular.
But anyway, because in driving you might crash if you look in the rearview mirror too long.
Well, also a rear view mirror. How big is a rear view mirror? It's not that big.
This is this big.
Right. Whereas a windshield, it's like pretty big, right? Because
yeah.
this is where we need to be looking at the majority of the time. We can't spend our entire time looking in the rearview mirror at the past. We need to be looking at the future at what to do, to your point. So
Exactly.
that's a great analogy.
Yeah. Guess who I learned it from?
Me.
Socrates.
Socrates.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have a legacy question.
Legacy check.
Legacy check. So what part, and this is the legacy check that is also in the newsletter.
Yeah.
So
you guys can answer it yourself.
Right. And you don't have to. It's just something to think about. But I think we should try to answer these questions because, maybe help somebody through something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So what part of your story are you afraid to watch back because it might call you to change?
That's an interesting one. I haven't really had too much time to think about this. But do you have an answer right
Well,
now?
I can make an answer.
You can make an answer on the spot?
I can make an answer. So change is hard for a lot of people. In fact, change is the number one fear for many people. Not even death. So people would rather die than change.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So, but looking back, I wish I would have been more open to correction from people and not thinking that I had it all figured out and trying to listen to the wisdom of those older than me. I pour into a lot of youth, a lot of people younger than me, a lot of peers, but I don't necessarily have an older sage pouring into me, and I think that's something that that I would like to have. So looking back, I just wish that I would have taken the advice of the people that were pouring into me at the time.
Well, I do have an older sage pouring into me.
Not that old.
This guy, no, pretty old. I'd say I'd agree with your point that I don't do that sometimes, and that I should probably start changing that, because I might end up somewhere that I don't want to be if I keep just listening to myself and thinking that I know better, but I don't, obviously. And so I feel like I should start listening to
Why do you think that is, that we have a tendency to not listen to other people and think that we have it all together?
Because it's a pride issue. I
Mm,
think that we just have too much pride to admit that we're wrong, and we can't accept that we're wrong, even when we know we are, because we have too much pride in us.
that's some pretty wise insight there.
Yeah,
Um, you know, Bible says pride go before the fall, right?
that's true. Yeah.
And it almost makes me think back to the original sin in the garden with Adam and Eve, right? Like they were tempted with the knowledge of good and evil, thinking that God was holding out on them,
Mhm.
right? But um, the pride of I need to know more, or I know it all already.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know. Does that fit, or am I just making something up there?
No, I think it fit. I think it went along
Okay.
with
You ever do that
where we're
sometimes? Like
going.
you have a thought in your head and it connects, but then you go
Oh
to
yeah,
verbalize it,
it
and
didn't
it's
connect.
like you're like that makes no
Yeah,
sense
the
whatsoever.
plane didn't quite land.
Right. The what?
The plane.
Oh, the plane didn't quite
Yeah,
land. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Uh,
I knew what I meant. Hopefully, you were
no,
tracking,
no,
and
I was tracking.
you
I was
guys were
tracking. Hopefully,
tracking.
if we, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you got it.
So, any final thoughts you want to leave our three listeners with?
Well, I'd like to do a little
Oh,
game
jeez.
thing with you again.
Okay.
Um,
I
all
do not like these.
right. So there's a plane, right? And it's on the border of the U.S. and Canada, right? You tracking with me now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So the plane, it's going, and it crashes, right?
Okay.
Oh no, right? So sad.
Well,
Where
that
do
is
we?
sad.
Yeah, it is. No,
I
it
mean,
is
the way
sad.
you said it's kind of
Okay, well,
sarcastic.
I didn't mean for it to be sarcastic. Where do you bury the survivors at? You know?
Well, you don't bury survivors, so
Oh, you've heard of this one before.
I told you this one. You probably shouldn't tell me riddles that I've
Well,
told you.
that's why I tapped you for you to play along with our listeners, but you didn't do it. I was tapping you going like this, and you didn't go along with it.
Why are we trying to? It's 22 minutes. It's under 30. We don't need to extend this more.
No, but
We
I
don't
was,
need to paint our listeners
bro.
with
All
just
right.
us gibbering
Okay.
on
Okay.
about nothing.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. You know
So
what? I'm
sometimes,
gonna come back with I'm gonna come back with a better one next time.
sometimes less is more.
Next
Okay.
time.
So,
Not
anyways,
always.
well, most of the time, sometimes, 60% of the time, it works every time.
Ooh.
That's a quote from a movie.
Oh, really?
Anyways,
What movie?
Anchorman. Yeah. Will Ferrell.
Oh, Will.
Yeah.
I like that,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Really quick, speaking of movies, I am so excited to see Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh, really? Oh,
Just
yeah, that's
watching
coming
another
out.
trailer for that. Looks so good.
Oh,
So
really?
good. Anyways, all right. Well, thank you for joining us on Elite Moves.
Episode 2.
Dose. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And you can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify.
TikTok, if you guys have it.
Join our mailing list to get the newsletter. However it is that you guys want to reach out to us, we'd love to connect. So hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
Deuces.